What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon. I'm back at you, another one. This is the penultimate episode of True Detective, and the killer seems to be right underneath our noses the whole time. Let's get right into it. If you can, please hit the like button. 500 likes is always the goal, because if it hits 500 likes, it triggers the YouTube algorithm. Have not been able to do that all season long. So if you support the channel, please hit the like button. Let's get this to 500 likes. So the number one thing that happened in this episode is that Hank got killed. Who did he get killed by? He got killed by his own son, Peter. And then Hank did admit that he was the one who moved Annie K's body. That's the number one thing that we could take away from this situation. But let's explain who is actually killing these people, because that is what it really comes down to. The theory of Navarro having a split personality and her being the killer seems to be the likely outcome of this story, unfortunately to me, because I didn't come up with that. But when we look back at the whole season, we can see certain signs that do point to that situation. We know that the company that is running this whole thing, doing the cave mines, is a company that's also tied into the military. We know that when they first showed her in episode 1 and she had sex with her boyfriend, she was extremely aggressive during that time. In fact, they had her, Danvers, have sex with her man first, and then showed exactly what was going on with Navarro, how she jumped on top of this dude and just rode him like that. It just seems like it was showing a type of contrast that maybe that was not her. Maybe that was her when she was in her split personality disorder. We also see in this episode, while she was on the ice, she was out there and she had a little flashback, and then all of a sudden the ice started to crack, which woke her up. The lady told her to lay down and pulled her back, and she said, "Why did you go all the way out there on the ice? Why did you do that? Didn't you hear me calling back to her?" It's something that we as the audience did not get a chance to see, or did not get a chance to hear. So it seems that that's the same thing that afflicted her sister and made her sister walk out there. We also see all of the dead bodies, and every time she sees a dead body, they always point at her like, it's you're the one all the time. So if it was going to work and that theory was going to work, you'd have to say, then why are they trying to prevent her from going into the ice caves? What in the ice caves is down there that people don't want to be seen, to the fact that they're willing to kill and murder this scientist and everything else, or this heroin addict, whatever you want to call them, so that they do not get down there and find out exactly what's going on? Because that's what happened here, right? They were willing to kill this guy and everything else. So if I'm trying to make this multiple personality situation work, then the only way I could say it would be that somehow if they get down there, it's not just going to be a cave system down there, but they're going to have some type of experimentation laboratory down there. And when they see the lab down there, that lab is going to be used to take soldiers from the Army or Navy, whatever you want to call it, who have some type of post-traumatic stress disorder, and use that to their ability to make them killers. Like they use some type of thing to trigger that in them, and when they use that to trigger that inside of them, that makes them go crazy and kill people. You know, it could be that symbol that they kept showing, that we know that they said that they used the symbol to market, to let people know, hey, that there is thin ice there, you don't want to be walking on it. But maybe that symbol is a marker. We'll have to go back and actually look and see every time Navarro sees it, did it trigger something in her? Or maybe it's something else. Maybe it has something to do with the polar bear, or maybe it has something to do with somehow they can make her go into this killer mode, which they can use them, the government's able to use them to become these killers and just to go and do the work that they want them to do. Could be that would explain that. Now, getting to my zombie theory, I still think it does hold water, because all that does not explain exactly what's going on with the water. It doesn't explain why the other lady seen her husband in there, why other people are getting visions, why Danvers heard different things too. Why did they hear those things? That split personality disorder doesn't explain that, but the zombie thing does explain it. If they get down there and somehow they were able to reanimate, or somehow they were able to do something with this Annie K or some DNA and then use that girl to go out there and do the murders for her, or she escaped and then went crazy and killed her, that's what it could see. Again, the body was found with a whole bunch of holes in them. Looks like she was being kicked and stabbed, they said, all these times. Could have been somebody with those spiked shoes that was kicking her. We know that the scientists that were up there did have the spiked shoes up there, and the people who work inside of the cave system did have the spiked shoes. They could have somehow grabbed up Annie K because she was being such a problematic person, and then put these diseases or whatever these creatures are that they found inside the ice that would make it seem that someone would get these type of abilities, and try to use her for an experiment so that they can control her, and somehow she came back to life, and then that's when they killed her and kicked her to the point where it looked like it was being a biased racial attack, when truly it was just that they were trying to stop the reanimated version of Annie K. There is a lot of ways you could go. They could have used the tongue for DNA and some type of swabs. It's a very long chance that is going to happen at this particular point, but that does wrap up everything. As they said, the babies are still being killed. There are 9 kids that were killed this year. That's a whole lot of babies. So there's definitely something going on inside that water. Maybe somehow they're doing these experiments and something is getting unleashed into this ice, into the water, and everyone is eating the water. That's why they're drinking the water. That is why the polar bear is walking around all crazy, because it doesn't know what it's doing. But we also seen that woman skinning the wolf right in the beginning. I think that wolf skinning was symbolic. It was they didn't just have her skinning this wolf just to do it, because I do believe it could be inside of the meat that she was eating, inside those wild animals, that caused her to have these hallucinations also, and that's why they showed her skinning that right off the bat. It's right under our noses. I have told you from the beginning that usually when they have shows like this, they show the killer within episode 1 and 2. If the killer is Navarro, they did show her within the first couple of episodes, and they did do the scene with her having sex with the boyfriend, which they will do. And if it's the case, that's the case, they're going to go back and flash back to every scene when she was not herself, when she was in the split personality. And if they do, I guarantee the first scene they show will be the one having sex with her man. Because I always thought it was off. I thought that they were trying to do the contrast, because they showed the chief having sex and they switched right to her, and when she jumped on top of the dude, she wouldn't let him touch her. She had to be in total control, and then she jumped out. But the problem is, that's the SpongeBob scene and everything else. It seems that she doesn't remember that situation when that happens. So the gift of the SpongeBob and everything else would bewilder her, because she was still in that mode when she jumped off top of him. So she shouldn't know anything about that SpongeBob gift and everything. That should be like, why are you even giving this to me, girl? Why is it? What's the situation there? Why do I have this? She should be saying to a man. But that's where I'm at. I'm going with the zombie. I'm not gonna stop. And we're not gonna let that die. But you tell me what you think in the comments section. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and of course subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.